This is Victor with VentoBot, and in this episode of Don't Kill the Messenger, I'm going to show you how to create a high converting Facebook ad with 3 simple steps. Now, before we begin, go on over to ventobot.com/book to get your copy of the book where we take our private clients through these 4 phases to generate never-ending leads online where they work with us to run paid traffic. And this is just a piece of that. So let's jump right in and kind of go over these 3 steps on how to create a high converting Facebook ad. Now, there's 3 real simple steps. It may sound too easy, and if you're anything like me, you're probably a little skeptical at this point of like, is it really that easy? Yes, simplicity and fundamentals is what the game is about. Because if you start doing all these fancy tactics and strategies, then what ends up happening is you start moving away from what actually works. When you find what works, you only need to add those tactics and strategies only if it makes sense to make things even better. Otherwise, you're focusing on something that you shouldn't yet. So here's how to do it. Step 1 for creating a high converting Facebook ad is the way you start. And this is just talking about the copy. There's a lot more on the actual ad itself that we can go into. I can go into much further in our Conversational Marketing Mastery group. So go on over, click the link there, and that'll allow us to, it'll allow you to join in. Now, the first step here is the question, right? And this is the yes question. Now, let me ask you something. If you saw an ad and it asked you a question of like, did you enjoy your lunch today? That is a very subjective question. It's not an immediate yes. Right, let's say I'm going to use my very first client way back when, a meal prep service. If we were to have started the ad with, did you enjoy your lunch today? That person may have not enjoyed their lunch today. They may not have even had lunch today. And then now we've already lost them because if they didn't enjoy their lunch, they're like, no, not really. Then they keep scrolling, right? We've lost them. If they've said, if they haven't had lunch the time they saw the ad, then they're like, oh no, I haven't yet, but what do I want to eat? And then they start looking for the next restaurant or the next place to eat, and then now we've lost them again. However, if we focused on a yes question as this first line that says something along the lines of want to have meal prep easier, then let's say something like, would you want meal prepping to be as easy as popping things in the microwave? Yes. Like, who wouldn't? Instead of spending hours in the kitchen, like if we add that extra couple of words, want meal prepping to be as easy as popping something in the microwave rather than spending hours in the kitchen, sure, the person that we're reaching and we're talking to is probably the person who spends hours in the kitchen meal prepping for the week, and they don't want to use their time that way. They want to use their time in a different way. So yes, immediately they're like, yeah, I would love for it to be easy like that. And then the next line could be something along the lines of like yeah, we felt that way too, without having to sacrifice the actual flavor and quality of the food. And then now this person is nodding yes, and they're agreeing with us. And that's essentially what we want them to happen, right? For this first yes question, you need to make sure the copy is an immediate yes. Something that gets them to say yes, hell yeah, raise their hand and say like, that's me, right? Because once you do that, they're gonna keep reading. And that's the only purpose of that initial question in the ad. And it looks like if I'm gonna draw an ad out real quick, like you have your image, let's say on the Facebook feed, you have your headline and you have like a description here. This first question should immediately just be on its own line, and that's it, right? So this is, let's just say this is the ad. You have your yes question, and then you move into step 2. And in step 2, what you're doing and what you're looking to do here is you're looking to create the feel, felt, found story, right? And this is essentially a framework I use, the feel, felt, found story. And the way it looks is like this, and I kind of already touched on it a little bit. So we say the yes question being like, let's say we're talking to meal prep people for a meal prep service, and we say like, hey, want meal prepping to be as easy as popping something in the microwave without spending hours in the kitchen? Yes. Okay, great. So now the feel found story. Like, yeah, I bet you're a bit like us and you spend hours in the kitchen. You love having a lot of food ready for the week. However, like this is how we feel. You love having a lot of food ready for the week. However, you feel like it takes up way too much of your time and you're robbed of your weekends and your Sundays because you're spending so much time meal prepping for the week. That's how they feel. We felt that way too because, and you don't have to say those actual words, feel, felt, found. That's just a way to start kind of thinking about it. You can transition however you want, but this allows you to start saying like, yeah, we felt that way too. We felt that there's got to be a better way to actually meal prep for the week without having to give up our Sundays to be in the kitchen, right? Maybe they don't like cooking. There's people who like cooking. Maybe there's people that don't. And that allows to speak directly to the people that don't like cooking and don't like to spend those hours there. They'd rather be doing something else. Maybe they'd rather be hiking or spending time with their family or whatever that looks like. But that is now, we're getting into them and we're getting them like, yeah, exactly. We're getting them to nod along with us. And essentially, as long as we create this story that moves them through this feel, felt, found framework, that is essentially how we create that resonance and connection with that person. So after they've felt that, then we go over like, yeah, we felt that way too. This is what we found. We found that when meals come pre-prepped by somebody else, where all we have to do is just add the finishing touches to it, it makes life so much easier. We get our Sundays back and it allows us to really do X, Y, Z. And then we can kind of go into like the benefits of why this service works and helps people. Again, if we're targeting, that particular client, I remember we were targeting moms and executives, specifically because they didn't have time. They didn't have the time. Moms were too busy already with their kids and family, and they just needed a way to be able to have healthy snacks for their kids and themselves and their family. Executives needed the same thing. They were always on the go. They needed their healthy snacks to always be on the go to be able to sustain a healthy lifestyle. And that allowed us to resonate with those people directly and allowed us to get them nodding their head along with us. Now, the final piece, and before I forget, if you're looking to generate never-ending leads online, go on over to bentobot.com/book to get your copy of the book, The Complete Automation Strategy, so that you can generate never-ending leads online. The same process we take our private clients through when we look to generate never-ending leads online through paid traffic with them. And this allows us essentially to cover, this is just a piece of that in that book. And in the group, I have the actual framework, the checklist for all of this. So once we go over this final step, and this is probably the most important thing, and that is the time-sensitive call to action. And this is the best way I found to actually do that. And the best way to create this time-sensitive call to action, again, you don't want to create false scarcity. You want to create real scarcity. Here's the thing when you run ads. You can show it to somebody, they might not see it again for another few weeks. So I like to put in there like, today, I'm giving you this 10% off your first purchase, or $10 gift card towards your first purchase, or whatever that looks like. I'm referring back to that client of meal prep service, but this could be anything it looks like for you. Some kind of time-sensitive call to action that, again, is very real. We don't want to create false scarcity. We want to create real scarcity because it's true. They might not see this ad for the next week or so. And so today we want to give that to them. Or this week we're giving away, let's say for example, I have 50 books left. And I say, hey, I have 50 books left. So this month I'm looking to give those 50 books away, and XYZ, once they're gone, right? And that's true scarcity. So make sure that you actually create real scarcity, but that's essentially how you create this time-sensitive call to action so that you can actually get that person to click on the link and go to the next page and download the PDF download, or take the action that you want them to take, to call now, to schedule, to join the group, to whatever it is that they want. So that's essentially how you do it. You have this initial yes question, and then you have the story of the feel, felt, found. And this is more of the resonating in connection with them, so we get them nodding their head. And then finally, we have the like, click the link because today it's going away, or this week it's going away, or whatever that looks like for you. Okay, so that way, those 3 things will help you start to create the high converting Facebook ads. And if you're serious about generating never ending leads online, go on over to bentobot.com/book to get your copy of the book so that you can generate never ending leads online. Walk through the 4 exact phases we take our private clients through when they hire us to work to run paid traffic for them. So until next time, I'm Victor with Bentobot. I'll see you.